has a natural flow that supports us, you know, and when we're in alignment with that, should we choose to follow the promptings of our heart and our higher self, then, you know, magic happens. We feel our shoulders soften, we feel our bodies soften. We're not, you know, fighting for breath, and because we're not distracted with what's happening in our outer world. Whoever's listening, just close your eyes if you feel best and receive. Karamachi kwa nana heshi kinya na hina mana hashaka. And this is correct, I was saying. So when you are in alignment with your soul's purpose, when you are listening to your inner self, you know, that instinct that you're born with, then you are allowing the process of life to bless you with all the gifts that you already hold, dear ones. You already hold them.
Welcome to the Divine Love Ambassador podcast with your host, Mary Jo Halligan. And I am delighted to bring you another amazing episode. This week, I have this lady. We're going to talk about a lot about joy and passion and how that creates miracles and magic. And I am excited for this conversation with this beautiful lady, Gail Frances. So thank you for joining me, Gail. Welcome to the Divine Love Ambassador podcast.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be here. And yes, we could have laughed and talked for ages, couldn't we?
Pre-recording. I had to get the recording button on. We want to capture it. And I'm so grateful that you're guided and you want to speak about joy. And as we get into that a little bit more, but before we do, I'd like to just give people a little bit of an idea of your background. So I'm going to share a little bit of your bio. So universal joy in the multidimensional you. That appears to be Gail Frances's passion. Dearest one of the light, for this is whom you are, born of the light. And now remembering this is whom you are. Is this from you or this is from your guides? This is kind of being channeled through you, a bit of a mix.
Yes, that's the description that I get given after I've completed all the paintings that I'm given.
Beautiful. Okay. Magnificent star beings created in the image of your maker. You are joy expressed in all its divinity. This image embodies the joy of our creator, the energies gifting you with the vibration of pure love and joy, expanding the same throughout your being. Dear ones, this comes to you with unconditional divine love beyond your comprehension. Breathe these encodings deep and often into your heart to reawaken those multidimensional aspects of self within, and so it is. So Gail, we better start with those paintings. Tell us a little bit of your background story, but also, yeah, I mean, the core thing that I'm aware of what you do is from your postings on social media, and also your sharing of your paintings with the light language codes. So maybe we'll just start there and we'll work backwards a little bit to discover how you came to be guided to create these paintings and what they represent and how you connect with people to bring through their soul painting, yeah, you'll have to explain it for me a little bit more. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear more on that. And I'm sure the listeners are too. Magical being.
Oh, thank you, Mary Jo. It's my passion. It's what I love to talk about. It's what I love to teach. And I'm really lucky that I'm in my golden years. So I've got a lot of experience that I've gained through making the good choices and also making the choices that haven't been so good, but they all have served me well. So long story short, I was a painting teacher for many, many years. I was self-employed, and I used to move around the country and teach people how to paint. So there came a time when I didn't have anything left, and I said to my students, you know, you've got everything. You don't need me anymore. Go and paint. And so when I retired, that's when my spiritual paintings started pouring in. And couple of my soul sisters and I were going to Peru, and I thought, well, I'd like to take a gift, and I was given that I had to do 4 paintings. Well, we were leaving in 2 weeks or something. I said, you've got to be joking. But I did them, just 4 little, about 6-inch square canvases of the elements, and gifted them to a beautiful shaman over in Peru. And everything has just expanded exponentially since then. And when I'm painting, because it's through me and not of me, my vibration is so much higher, and I'm basically in a state of bliss. I could be there all day and paint, and I'm saying, what next, So at the moment, I'm completing a beautiful lady's personal soul painting. So if people would like one of those, they're not completed on just a little 12 by 12 canvas, so they can be posted worldwide at not too much expense. So people give me their place of birth, their given name at birth, and their place name. And anyway, I'm already in that other space. And their date of birth. And I hand that over to Spirit. So I hand it over to my team. And my understanding is that they pop into the Akashic records. I mean, I can do that, but I don't need the attachment. I need to be a clear conduit for their words and their energies. So I'm given the person's colors that are appropriate this time, and a beautiful symbol that goes on the top of the painting in gold leaf. And I'm also given a beautiful blessing, which gives me a bit of insight into these beautiful souls. And I think, gosh, what an amazing person. And the feedback I get is, that's absolutely bang on. So when the painting part is finished, there's usually 3 colors, and all those colors go on at once. And before I even start a painting, I go through my meditation process and call Spirit in. And so even the flow of the paint is guided. And once it gets poured on, then the language of light comes through my voice. So for those who don't know what the language of light is, the best way I can explain it is that the languages that we have in our world are limited. They're of a lower vibration. And by that, I don't mean, a yucky vibration. I'm just saying that the language of light that Spirit speaks through is of a very high vibration. And whereas you and I, we understand each other's talking English, if someone was to speak Spanish to me, I wouldn't have a clue. But in light language, you can have a conversation with someone else who's speaking light language, and we're laughing away, and at some level we're totally understanding, and we don't have to ask questions. So it's a very high vibration. So each painting is energized with light language through my voice, and light through my hands. I can feel my fingers tingle, and I can actually see the paint move. Here's this little canvas sitting there, and I'm watching the paint move, and I see little bubbles pop up. And one I've just completed recently had the lady's symbol was a dragon. And I thought, gosh, okay. So I sort of went into my mind. I thought, how do I paint a dragon, and do it in gold leaf? But there in the paint, I can see this dragon. I think, wow. So this is the magic when we're in alignment with our passion. It's being of loving service, and that can take its form in so many ways. So that's personal soul paintings. The one you're looking at today is what I say, it's for general public. But I've noticed now that I'm back painting again after 3 years, the energies have just elevated incredibly. And I've noticed also that the language that comes through is totally different. It's beyond our universe, it's multi-universal.
So do you want to share? Anything more about this particular one? I've got it on the screen share now, so people can see it.
So that's hmm,
Universal.
what's universal joy in the multidimensional you. And I think for all of us, we're beginning to realize that we're not just this human being on Mother Earth, but, you know, we are these multi-dimensional beings having a human experience.
Can you
And
explain
these are,
more just what that really means, this multidimensional being? Would you like to just expand upon what that really means? Because we drop these words, and for
I
people
know.
like, what does that really mean? Are we, yeah, just to give more, I guess, give more depth to what that really means, or how you interpret that.
Okay. So if I was explaining it to a child, if I was explaining it to, say, my grandchildren, I would say, well, you know, when the astronauts are up in space, and you know that when they're up in space and they see New Zealand, we have a violet haze over it. So it is very special. So anyway, when the astronauts are up in space, they might see Mother Earth as a tiny little blue planet, you know, but they see lots of other planets and lots of other stars. And on those planets and those stars, there are other forms of life, and we can call them extraterrestrials, or well, we'll call them extraterrestrial races. And so we are not the only form of life in this universe. There's many. And for me, when I started channeling and bringing through the energies to energize the paintings, it was a massive growth spurt, because I had these energies coming through and the language sounded different, and I was asking where it was from, and it might have been the Pleiades, or it might have been a group called the Collective, who are basically beings, extraterrestrial beings from what I call the many mansion worlds of God. So within and beyond our own galaxy. If something doesn't feel right, then, you know, I let it go, or I question. I always question. So when we do this sort of work, this spiritual journey that we're on, it's up to us to be responsible and ask the questions. You know, there's the only stupid question not asked is one not asked, you know.
Discern, to discern the energies, right? To be responsible to discern the energies. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if I'm connecting with, say, our beautiful Mother Mary, Mother of Yeshua, then I recognize her voice when she comes through. And for me, my experience is that she sings. Her language, although not in our language, her light language is beautiful. It brings tears to my eyes, and I just absolutely adore her. So there are, you know, many different languages. Does that explain it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's vibrational. So vibrational is the universal language, right? It's
Absolutely. It's
frequency.
frequency. Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, my understanding of frequency is that it is the speed of the language.
Mm.
And when my hands clap like that, that's my team
Yes.
letting me know that. Oh, gosh, they make me laugh. Thank you.
Wonderful. So you get a little clap when you're on it. That's interesting, actually, about frequency being the speed of the language. I haven't actually heard it said like that before, but I do get in the sense of, yeah, it makes sense in terms of the vibration, as you said earlier, the denser
Yes.
vibration. It's not good or bad or right or wrong. There's no judgment, but there's a denser vibration, and then there's a lighter vibrational, and then it's in a frequential kind of, yeah, it's for a language
Well,
level,
it's sound.
bandwidth.
Yeah, it's sound. If I drop my voice right down here, that's a lower vibration. Where if it lifts up higher, it's a higher vibration. Oh, okay, so that's correct.
And then the lower chakras or that real grounded, earthy, low tones really affect those lower chakras. So you can even feel it in your own energy body through sounding. And then the upper
Yes,
chakras are more connected to those ah, higher frequency
absolutely.
sounds. So toning and sounding is such a powerful way to, I call it to attune the instrument, which is our
Yes,
multidimensional instrument represented through this physical representation on Earth. So sound and light become
absolutely.
very, very relevant as we awaken, you could say, or remember and start to come into more harmony with our true self and yeah, release, I guess, the density and the limitations and so forth. What else would you like to add to that? What else do you know around all that?
Well, we're talking about energy and density. So, and that's where our sound comes in. And there's lots of people using lots of modalities other than our voice to help what's the word I want? Transmute. So in my reality, everything is color and light and sound. That's my happy place. If I go for a walk down the road, like yesterday, I'd had a long day, so I thought I've got to go for a walk down to the waters. And living in Christchurch, we have many waterways, and where the pure water from the Southern Alps bubbles up underneath, and it comes up in these streams like little fountains. And we'd had quite a bit of rain, so the water was higher. And I was watching the ducks, and they'd slide down the bank and they'd go and pop themselves. And it's like the middle of this little vortex, and they just sit there with this water. I was just in bliss watching these beautiful little animals be in this eternal moment of now. They're so close to nature, they're at one with nature, and such a big lesson for us, such a massive lesson at these times of change for us to connect with Mother Earth, with nature, with all the elements. It's just imperative.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you want to share a little bit more why it's so imperative?
Well, it brings us back, it reconnects us. Most people still during their daytime are in their mind. We're learning to live much more from our hearts. From me, I always know when I'm not in my heart space. I just feel a little bit flat. But I've done a lot of inner work. I've had many years to do this inner journey. And this is what people's soul paintings help them, support them with, because they can just look at them, have them in their room, and just meditate with them. I mean, meditation doesn't mean sort of sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed saying om sort of thing. There's many forms. I mean, me going down to the water yesterday was meditation. People working with their little personal soul paintings, they're receiving, they're breathing, and they're receiving. And this is look, the universe has a natural flow that supports us, and when we're in alignment with that, should we choose to follow the promptings of our heart and our higher self, then magic happens. We feel our shoulders soften, we feel our bodies. People working with their little personal soul paintings, they're receiving, they're breathing, and they're receiving. And this is look, the universe has a natural flow that supports us, and when we're in alignment with that, should we choose to follow the promptings of our heart and our higher self, then magic happens. We feel our shoulders soften, we feel our bodies soften. We're not fighting for breath, and because we're not distracted with what's happening in our outer world, soften. We're not fighting for breath, and because we're not distracted with what's happening in our outer world. So I had some language coming through. I can feel it in my throat.
Yep.
I don't know what it means, and I don't ask. So whoever's listening, just close your eyes if you feel best and receive. Karamiti kwa nana heshi kinya na hina mana hachaka. And this is correct, they are saying. Mane kona mai e te kinyana ate ki kosha ki manyana e te kinyana hanaha. So when you are in alignment with your soul's purpose, when you are listening to your inner self, you know, that instinct that you're born with, mana he shi kona mai e te kinya ina mana shi kona manaha, then you are allowing the process of life to bless you with all the gifts that you already hold, dear ones. You already hold them within. You are not without these gifts. Mana e shi kona mane kana e shi kinya na me shi kini manya atukani yo kwani shi kata mane hena malo ide tukani 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 me tukani ne kata kati kata ni nya hana manasa. Thank you, thank you. So that's my beautiful team. They come in whenever needs be, and for me, it's really just so confirming, Mary Jo. I liken life to, say, a surfer out on the waves. They're at one with the water. They're trusting. They're using their instincts to go with the natural flow, and this is what we're being asked to do. We don't have to get out on the water on a surfboard. I know I wouldn't last very long. However, you know, we are being asked to go with the flow, and that means trusting. It means, above all, it means loving, self-love. And it's taken me many years to love myself, to be able to look in the mirror and say, gosh, thank you for this amazing journey. You know, when I look back, I think, far out, and it hasn't finished yet.
So talking of self-love, how do you see how that relates to really embracing what I'm calling divine love? And you can use different words if you want, but how do you interpret that?
Oh, gratitude, appreciation. Gratitude is top of the pops. It's grateful for absolutely everything. And that means the grotty stuff as well. That means when we're having a grotty day and our body's saying to us, for goodness sake, I'm asking you to rest. And here you are, you might be excited about doing a painting, but actually you really need to be resting. You've done enough today. Because, you know, we can be our own worst enemy. And when I'm wanting to paint, I just want to go. But there comes a time where I've got to stop and let the painting do its thing. Let the Great Spirit do its thing, and just rest or go for a walk. So self-love is what we put into our bodies. It's about not being attached to outcomes. It's being very mindful what we loan our eyes and our ears to. I think that's a really big thing out there with so much misinformation now. But that said, I'm not saying don't watch the mainstream news. Admittedly, I don't know what that is, but however, be detached and feel our inner self. You know, does that feel true? Does that sound true? Because I believe we need to keep ourselves relatively informed. So, but my relative informant is my highest self.
Yeah.
Every morning, every night, I go to bed in a space of love and gratitude, and I wake up in the same. Masha manataka.
And it's very powerful because, yeah, just as you mentioned, like that state or that frequency, vibration, intention before we go to bed, those energies, they're very powerful as to how you wake up. So that's actually a very practical tool, intentional tool to really purposely let yourself go off into sleep in we'll call a high vibrational frequency, so that you can wake up in that frequency as well, rather than have to really work at it to get yourself going in the morning. Very powerful. Have you got any other things that you could share, like practical tools and tips for people to really keep themselves in alignment, like on a daily basis? Simple tools, the tips you mentioned about discernment of what we put into our ears and our eyes, and what we're taking in, and where we're going for information and so forth. And I guess that's a recognition. There is there is a level of having to recognize the value of our being, the value of our humanness, and start to have an understanding of the impact of what we're putting inside. So that's near like step one, is actually even come into that level of awareness, awakening, whatever you want to call it, and then to be more diligent as we choose from the desire in our heart, or our soulful impulse, or whether push sometimes if there's a bit more of an urgency, and that could be an accident or car coming off the road, or whatever it is,
Yes.
to get on track, to get into alignment. It's time to remember, it's time to take more self-responsibility for your energy, rather than being at the effect of these external energies coming in. It's actually time to start to be, you could say, what we came here to be, to evolve, to expand consciousness and light and love, and these kind of frequencies, rather than the separation frequencies. So yeah, if you have anything else to share as practical everyday nuggets that are accessible for everybody, doesn't cost the earth,
Well,
economical,
no, it
available.
doesn't have it doesn't have to cost anything, because this is self-love.
Yeah.
And for myself, I have a morning practice which has just worked for me, and I was given it many years ago, and I'm always grateful when it's not pouring down with rain in the morning, because I pop out onto the back lawn, stand barefoot on the grass, and I close my eyes, and I have my hands palm open to the sun. Okay, so I say to myself, center. And this is centering all my chakras. I say align. And this aligns my chakras with heaven and earth. I say activate. And this activates my chakras so they spin correctly and harmoniously with all that is. I say clear. And I'm asking any energies within my energy field are not in alignment with divine will to be cleared. And I wait a little longer until this has happened. And then I say ground. And I sense
Are you focusing on your breath as you're doing this? What else is happening?
I'm not conscious of my breath, to be quite honest. It's obviously just
Focused on the
ease and grace. Yes.
Yeah, and the energy. You're sensitive to the energy awareness, though, as you feel things to recalibrate or shift around your energy field.
I'll finish my little practice, and then I'll explain what happens for me, because at first I didn't feel much at all. So then I say ground, and I send strong cords from my base chakra and the soles of my feet down through my earth star, and I ground them deep into Earth Mother's heart, deep into her living waters. I thank Mother Earth for nourishing and hydrating the roots of my tree of life. And I thank her as she pulses her living waters up my grounding cords, through my earth star and into the soles of my feet and my base chakra. Now at this stage, I'm feeling the energies. So I visualize the waters filling my feet, rising through my legs, rising into my torso, rising up through my torso to my shoulders, falling over my shoulders, filling my fingers and my hands, rising through my wrists to fill my arms, my upper arms, and back to my shoulders, filling my neck and filling my head. And I thank her for all her vitamins and minerals that are being sent to every cell of my body. Her waters, they saturate every hair follicle of my head, and at this stage my head tends to throw back a bit. And then her waters burst through my crown chakra to reach the great central sun, who purifies, balances, regenerates, and energizes these waters As I say this, my arms literally levitate above my head with my palms face upwards, and I can feel the sun on them.
Beautiful.
So Mother Earth, great central sun is purifying, balancing, regenerating, and energizing these waters and sending them back to Mother Earth, purifying, balancing, regenerating, and energizing all my bodies, my subtle bodies, and blessing Mother Earth with the same. So I give thanks to the great central sun, to Mother Earth, to all the elements and the kingdoms, to my body for absorbing and releasing. And I thank Mother, Father, God, and Holy Spirit. And then I open my eyes, fully awake.
Beautiful.
So I do that every single morning. And when I came down here 3 years ago,
To Christchurch.
it was only, I'm in Christchurch. It was only a couple of years ago, all of a sudden my hands levitated, my arms levitated naturally. I hadn't been doing that, and they just levitated. So the more we practice these things and surrender, it's loving ourselves enough to trust, and that's my daily grounding, and I ground myself whenever I can. We need to.
Yeah, it's interesting kind of discovery. I mean, the first place I probably heard about the grounding but didn't quite understand what it really meant, to be quite honest, was when I came into yoga and the talk of rooting down to rise up. It really didn't make much sense to me. And then I got it in my body that the more we ground down, the deeper we ground. Then the analogy of the tree, the deeper the roots are, the higher we rise. And I could feel that then in my practice. So it went from a theory or a concept or somebody else telling me to an embodied experience. And I guess that's what you're sharing there, is first you have to open up to go on the journey, the visualization, the experience, however it may come. And then eventually it's like, it just becomes more realized, more embodied. The dots connect. And I guess as well, it's like the feeling body takes over as well, so that we're that building up that language, isn't it? Because like feeling, it is frequency, is the language of the universe. Would you like to speak to that? Because you talked about, yeah, if you're not in your heart, you're in your head and you feel a bit offish. So can you speak to about this language of feeling and why we have so much trouble really leaning into it, trusting it in society and culture, and what's required now around all of that so that we can really help ourselves and help the earth and so forth.
Oh, thank you. I think it's leading by example, and it's not letting anyone knock you off your perch. And this is really important when it comes to your passion, because we have many passions. My painting isn't just my passion. I love my poetry. I love my family. And the more you expand, you think, oh my God, I love everything. I just love everything.
Flower. Oh my God, you're so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my kids said to me one day, Mum, what about all the grotty stuff? And I said, well, what about it? Love and joy is such a high vibration that Yeshua said to me, dark cannot enter a pure heart. It cannot enter through pure light. And there was another thing he said to me when I was meditating one night, because I was in the process of letting go a very long-standing relationship. And I had decided that I was going to love everything about this person that I've always loved, and the rest of it could go to hell on a handcart. So there was a massive judgment there, and Yeshua came through to me and he said, love thee all. And I burst out into tears. I just cried and I thought, oh my God, I am so sorry. you know, I am so sorry. And so in my meditation that night, I asked for forgiveness to that person. So, yes, love the all. So that is that's a challenge. It's easy to love, you know, the innocent children. It's easy to love nature. It's easy to love stuff that doesn't bite back at you. And when it does bite back at you, can we remain in that space of love? You know, can we say, can we let whatever's being said to us, that's their mirror, can we be that beautiful reflective mirror for them or for us, whatever's happening? Because, you know, I remember saying to someone once, well, it's actually all about us. Oh, this person said, oh, it's all about you, isn't it? And I said, well, actually, yes, it is. Because everyone that I meet is affected by my mood, just like, you know, we're affected by each other's mood here. We're affected by each other's senses. And as long as we are sensitive, as long as we're conscious, that's the word I want. They're saying, wonder when you're going to start talking about consciousness. Everything is about consciousness. It's about our beautiful senses that are expanding exponentially at the moment. And we always know, I think we always know when the level of our consciousness drops. You know, you simply don't feel good.
Yeah, kind of what I just wanted to add in a little bit as well is habits and
Yes.
the habits, the conditioned habits that we've learned has been the habit to disassociate, you could say, or negate the feeling body and to go into the head, go into the mental thinking process. And so the invitation now, of course, as we awaken, is to come, is to lean more into the heart, into the feeling, into the to discern energies and resonance, and to, you know, because that is how we can actually really be empowered to create the energies that we really want in a tune with those kind of frequencies and attract those experiences that we prefer as well consciously. So bringing more consciousness to it. So it's such yeah, it's such a partnership. The feeling body for the frequency discernment to become more conscious of life. Do you want to speak to consciousness since your guides were very happy that you mentioned consciousness? Let's go there. Let's talk about consciousness. What would your guides like to share about consciousness? I'm
Well,
all
first,
about consciousness. It is joyful consciousness here.
well, first of all, they're nudging me to mention our ego, because we tend to think of ego as not being a good thing. Well, it's not a great thing if we let it rule us. But again, it's consciousness. When we're conscious of when our ego arises, or when our mind takes over, when our mind and heart are one, it's a beautiful flow. It's a beautiful synchronicity of energy in all our senses. But ego but I mean, it's generally of the mind. But like Yeshua says, love the all. So we love it all, and we just say thank you, and thank you for showing me. So they're asking me to read a poem to you. Thank you. Okay. So I'm very blessed that when I'm in certain places and a certain level of consciousness, that the poetry comes through. So this one is called Show Me. Show me what I need to see. Show me all I need to be. Show me is my plea. What is it lights the fire in me? What parts I still need to set free? I know I hold the master key to all that is divinity. Open my ears that I may hear the words of wisdom my heart holds dear, as I move through my illusory fear, my future to view as crystal clear. I call from my soul, that age-old seer, from across time and space, our realities freer, knowing inside that feeling of wow, telling us our time is now. Isn't it lovely? And the beauty of this, when it comes through me, if you write something from your mind, you tend to be critical, have that little bit of, yes. And that's what it was like when I was a traditional painter painting landscapes and things. I was very critical. It's just a thing. But the moment all the new stuff started coming through, oh my God, I'm like, oh my God, But when our consciousness is expanded and we're open to all that is, we're open to receive, magic happens, Mary Jo. It's just beautiful. And then one good thing happens, and that raises your vibration, and you think, gosh, I can do this, thank you. And so up you go again, and then something else comes in. And so when we let go all the stuff that distracts us, it just happens. When I finished a personal soul painting, I say to my team, I say to the universe, okay, that's one done, I'm ready for the next. And then it comes. So universe, I'm ready, because I'm in that space of expanded consciousness, of love and light and joy. Do you know we have a joy? Do you know we have a joy chakra?
A joy chakra?
We do.
Do we?
We do. And where do you think a joy chakra would be in our body?
In our bellies.
It's down by our base chakra. Isn't that interesting?
Oh.
Balance of our base chakra and everything that's basal, and joy, which is a higher vibration than love. It's
right.
a
That's
higher vibration.
interesting. Why do you think that is a higher vibration than love?
Joy.
Yeah.
It's just something that I feel. And yes, and my team's agreeing. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. It's just very high on the vibrational frequency. It's together with love. It's I can't explain it any more than that. Shimanya Hana Maha. Okay. So this is my Arcturian team that's with us now. For those who know who the Arcturians are, they're basically overlighting Mother Earth and humanity on our mission of enlightenment and realization. And what's the other word I want? See, I'm in that space now, Mary Jo, and I can't think of words. As our ascension process. Thank you. Kanamishi Kwana Maha. And they would like to bless whoever's watching, listening, with an activation of their joy chakra. Okay? And Manahashiki. So just close your eyes, take some lovely deep breaths, and feel your body soften. Feel your tummy go in and out. And be open to receive with love and light and gratitude. And they're saying never in the time of humanity has it been more important to experience the vibration of joy whenever possible. Nice big deep breath and relax. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you to my team. Thank you.
Can you share a bit more about this joy chakra, as in?
Oh, they always do that. It just cracks me up. But I can feel it. I can feel it in every cell of my body.
Because to
So
me, that would be
it's,
joy. It's a feeling through every cell of my body. It's just such a,
yeah,
it's like a tingle, an aliveness.
yes.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's like those ducks that I was watching in the water, sitting in the middle of this vortex, and they were flapping their wings, and their head was down, and their little bottom was up in the air, and they're having such a whale of a time. And I was picking that up. I was in joy, you know. So, the joy vibration. This is to find the joy in the smallest thing. A bee alighting on a dandelion or something, and just spend those few moments, and everything disappears, everything. And then you can bring yourself back, and you've brought that vibration back with you, and you can move on through your day. So many people are having such stressful lives, stressful days, stressful jobs, so we're here to make a difference, to send our love and our light and our joy, everything that's good and of God, to just send it. I'm all for that.
Beautiful. So one thing that I notice within myself, and I share sometimes on camera when I share some, just the transformation or the transmutation journey that we're going through. I love sharing the realness of it, the rawness of it, the authenticity of it, because I feel this is what needs to be shared. Um,
Yes.
as an example, rather than just share the finished product, that kind of way, you know. Um, and so one of the things is like as the human is the tears are coming out of the human, out of the body, the tears of release, the tears of acknowledgement, the tears of letting go, whatever it is, and they're like the body is just they're just seeping out of the eyes. There's also simultaneously this incredible joy. So I say my heart is giggling, the cosmic heart is giggling as the body is releasing and letting go, or the ego is releasing or dissolving or melding in, and those old memories are dissipating, being distilled into wisdom, into joy, into revelation, into appreciation, into compassion. And there's a simultaneity to it. And it's like, finally, it's like we're getting the joke, when the giggles come through, it's like, oh, it's just a big play. This is a big playground. This is just
Absolutely.
incredible. And then to see, through the eyes of source, the
Yes.
magnificence of its creation, which includes the human, includes the flower, includes the bee, includes the wind that caresses off our body, the sun from the sky, the rain, the leaves on the tree. And it's just like, this awe and wonder and, so yummy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I totally agree. And there's coming a time where we will be living in that reality, because that's what we choose to create. And so, we're talking about passion, we're talking about our dreams, and
You
we're
want to talk
talking
a bit
about,
more about passion? Just, I mean,
yeah,
just especially like
yeah,
if people are at home and they're listening and they're like, I keep hearing about this thing about passion, but what is it? And what is
yes.
my passion? And what is my purpose? And what am I supposed to be doing? I don't feel like I'm getting this. And it's all confusing. Yeah.
Well, what if your passion was your purpose? We know our purpose is love. We know it is to be love. We were created with love, for love, by love. We know that. How do we get there? How do we do that? So we've got to ask ourselves the hard questions. And I have this saying, if it's not fun, I'm not playing. If it's not fun, I'm not playing. Well, because I've had my own hard times, and I'm grateful for them. I'm very, very grateful for them. I don't have to go back there. So for passion, it can take so many forms, and we all have them. We just don't always acknowledge them, or we put them into the too hard basket, or we don't know how to express it, what to do with it. So it's time to ask ourselves, what am I really passionate about? It doesn't have to be painting or something like that. It can be something physical, it might be your sport, it might be just talking like we're doing and enjoy it. It could be anything. But the thing is, if you feel you haven't got one, well, then look at what makes you happy. You know, go back into your childhood, and I trust you've all had some at least happy moments. What made you happy? Was it working with animals? Was it working in the garden? Was it, you know, what was it that gave you, that lifted your vibration? And you went home. Was it at school? Was it taking a new course that you became passionate about? Was it reading a book? Was it watching a movie? I quite often say to people, you know, that we've got so much grief, still got so much grief held deep in our subconscious. If we can release that stuff, and that can be done through our passions, because it's just light. It's light in action, you know.
What do you understand grief to be, Gail? What creates this grief that's in our subconscious? What has created that? What's waiting to be? What's held or has been that is waiting for creative expression, or you know, through the body, through the tears, through the laughter, through whatever it is? What creates that? What is that?
What is grief? Mm.
Or what creates it? You know, why is there a grief? Why
Oh,
is so
okay.
much grief
Oh,
held?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we weren't created to suffer.
Mm.
So I would say grief is something that we have created. It's created through an experience, and because perhaps what we've seen, what we've heard, etc., causes that. But basically, it's what is something that's happened in my experience is what we feel. And generally, you know, that's when our emotions arise. Well, we've got so many trapped emotions deep in our subconscious. For me, I use, apart from my own meditation, I use a kinesiologist, and she taps into my body, and releases everything that has caused grief. It's not just through the death of someone or someone close. It can be from betrayal. It can be from unrealized experiences. It can be a multitude of things that we can put under the grief label. And so many people have a job expressing their grief and letting it go. So I find women are a lot better at releasing grief. And watching a really good soppy movie is a good way to release grief. Gratitude, when you see the most beautiful things happening, and honestly, even jolly old platform Facebook has some beautiful things there, and you feel yourself well up, you know, you feel the tears of gratitude coming, which is you know, it's release as well. And what do? When, okay, got to stop this now and go off, and it gets shut down again. So part of self-love is just that deep inner journey to release the grief that encompasses so much stuff. And we don't need to know what it is. We don't need to know that. Just let it go. Thank you. Well, thank you for showing me. Thank you. What do I need to do about this? Well, actually nothing. I'm on my way out. Don't stop me, you know?
Yeah. And I think an important thing for people to know, if they're not aware, because it's so profound. And at one time I didn't really understand this, so that's why I kind of want to share it and bring it to the table, just in case others don't really realize. And I don't think we do really realize, is that underneath the grief is the joy. It's the
Yes.
key, or the anger,
Yes.
or the, you know, the heavy emotions, or the heavy energies. They only feel heavy because they haven't been given their expression or their acknowledgement, and we've repressed, suppressed, denied, avoided them, just out of our conditioning, just out of our habits, or learned behaviors through families or religions or culture or whatever it is. And so, you know, we're just having to give ourselves that permission that we didn't get given, whether it's childhood or through the educational system or wherever it was in a relationship. And so to start to give ourselves that permission and make friends with these different emotions, if you like, or different ways of expressing energy, because that's really all it is. It's just
It
energy,
is.
energy into
Yeah.
motion, energy looking for
Yes.
expression. So that's why you talk about you put into your creativity, or it goes into a walk, or just whatever allows the flow rather than the containment. I use the analogy
Mm.
of what do you call it? Like you put a dam up, you know, in a river. You put a dam up in a river, and so initially the water is pretty clean, but if it's left there long enough, it becomes pretty toxic, right? And then becomes pretty scary,
Absolutely.
and then monsters live in it, and it's really scary place to go, right? So stay away at all costs. So it takes a bit of
Yeah.
courage initially to start to, you know, and maybe a lot of discomfort sometimes to go, okay, I'm willing to start to take down the dam, and I'm willing to start to let this water start to move through. And then of course, the more and more it does, the more it gets cleaned and clarified and refined. And then all of a sudden, it's not such a scary place to go after all. It becomes more integrated.
Well, you said something interesting there that, we put up walls and, to hold it all in. And that's exactly, it's just a human thing. It's self-protection, And you look at humanity today, so many of them are in survival mode. So behind that survival mode is fear. There's all these lesser energies, lower vibrations that are holding people back. And we are being asked to be courageous, and if we can't summon up that courage, well, somewhere along in our lives, something will happen and it will be forced, for want of a better word. Usually it's in sickness, something like that. Been there, done that, nearly went home. So, very, very
What was
grateful
the
for that.
sickness, or what was your journey with
So
that?
grateful. Okay, so I deep grief, massive grief, and I developed Graves' disease. Went to a doctor who sent me to an eye specialist, who said change your doctor. Walked into the doctor and he gave me some pills and said this is what's happening. Did some tests, pituitary gland and thyroid gland beginning to close down. So I was, very nearly off home. But I kept a massive diary during that time of my dreams, and just amazing. And I'm so grateful. Was told I'd be on pills for the rest of my life, and in my head I said that'll be the day. So weaned myself off those. A few years later, or quite a few years later, it came back, and I had to go to hospital. And the doctor gave me, this gorgeous doctor, gave me 3 options, and I said none of them, thank you. And he looked at me in shock and he said, why? I said, I'll go home and find the cause, thank you. So, we've got to be the doctor at the top of the cliff. We can't be the ambulance at the bottom. We've got to be responsible, do our research, self-love. Find, if we can,
It's through self-responsibility, taking more
yes,
responsibility, and
absolutely.
willing to face the uncomfortable stuff, because really
Oh,
that's what it is, isn't it? The
absolutely.
cause means being willing to face the uncomfortable stuff, feelings,
Absolutely.
energies, you know, the subconscious stuff that you might not have been aware of that was running the show, or stuff even hand-me-downs generationally, even beliefs, energies, right?
Oh, everything, past lives, it's all there. It's the word is that that's not important anymore, but I differ on that, to be quite honest. I think as long as people are living in a 3D reality, then they're going to have to cope with everything that's arising, and sooner rather than later, because time is moving so quickly.
Yes.
And it's just amazing.
It is,
You
it
know,
is, it is.
I want what she's got, sort of thing. Yeah. How do you do that? Well, you got half an hour? Yeah.
Yeah, and even how do you do that? It's like, well, we're gonna have to take you into your heart to even be able to, you know, transmit the possibility. Because
Yeah.
as you talked about, so let's just go back and or maybe we'll like kind of bring it together. We talked about passion and following your joy? Would you say following your joy is what leads you into your passion? Whatever lights you up? What's more natural
Absolutely.
to you?
And what I would say that was with our dreams, because we all have them. And we've got to ask ourselves, okay, this is what I've seen it, I feel it. You've got to feel it in your heart and in your soul. And then you've got to put it into action. Keep your dreams to yourself for a while, because so often you get the knockers that come in and say, oh, you're a dreamer, you'll never be able to do that. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you don't need that. So just keep it to yourself till it's starting to manifest, and then they'll be saying, my God, how did you do that? Well, I had this dream. So that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So going from passion, following your joy, what lights you up. Usually another good key is what you do naturally without, needing to get paid for it, even though it's really nice when you can get an exchange of energy and payment and, allow that in for your joy, for living your joy. And so that's a new level
Absolutely.
of consciousness, isn't it? I mean, that's a new expression of consciousness because again, generally for most of us, we were not taught that our joy was valuable. We were taught it's got to be hard work and da 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 and gritting and all the rest of it. So it is quite a shift of consciousness and healing the inner child, and we said whatever it needs to be to recognize that the joy is truly the essence of self and the beingness and the greatest contribution that we can actually be to this realm of earth and each other and the universe. And so then you talked about how that opens up miracles and magic. So do you want to just share a little bit
Absolutely.
more about that? How does our joy open up miracles and magic?
Well, then you have to sort of figure out what is a miracle, and is there any such thing as a miracle? I mean, what is a miracle? Well, I think life is a miracle. I think birth is a miracle. I think the sun rising and setting is a miracle. Everything is, it's your perception of everything and how you choose to see. When you start living from your heart, you just see things differently, because your consciousness is expanded and you're just on a different level. And I just love the word miracles. I just love the word miracles. Can I tell you a quick story?
Yes.
Okay, so we were having to, I'd been given that we'd be moving out of Auckland to live. And so, long story short, we were down in Coromandel, and but before we went, I was online and I saw this house, and I thought, and my body gave a jump, and I thought, oh, yep, that's it. So we went down, had a look at a few houses, had a look at this house. I thought, yeah. Asked the estate agent if we could go back and meet the lady the next day, the owner. So we did that. She liked us, and her cats liked us. She was moving over to Australia. Went to the auction, standing in the corner, and ours was the last bid, because then so we pulled out the bag and they said, you've got to go higher. So I asked for a few moments and called my team in, was given a figure. They went upstairs, spoke to the lady, who's asking. He said, oh, the so-and-so family, and oh, that's good, yes, they can have it. And that she accepted less than what she really wanted. So that to me is a miracle. And I think when we had faith and trust in the divine and in our intuition, then miracles really happen. And the stuff that happened for me, especially living down in the Coromandel, was nothing short of magic. Just absolutely wonderful. But each experience you have like that, as I said before, you remember those and you think, well, gosh, what did I do to manifest that? If I can do that, because I've felt, you feel it in every cell of your body. So that's magic and miracles to me. It's having the trust and faith and feeling it, because if it's not in alignment with your highest will, you're not going to feel it. And if you go against your instinct, well, we all know what that's like if we don't honor our instincts.
Yeah, and I think the other key as well is you asked. You kept your channel open to be guided. What is the number? So keeping your channel open to ask and you shall receive, and to be open to the miracles, open to it turning out better than you could ever imagine, and the synchronicity and synergy. And these are some of the words I call it. And so the human nature just becomes delighted, because it's such a delight to be amongst it all and unfolding, knowing that the ego mind or the ego consciousness, there's no way it could come up with, and then I heard somebody else say, was it miracles is just what science doesn't understand. It hasn't come to the understanding or something like that. And so, it's just we don't fully, mentally understand it, but we kind of feel it, as you said, and experience it and receive it. I think that's a huge part,
Yes,
is to actually let
yes,
it in and receive it, and not to be attached to the outcomes. So we have to be open to it not necessarily turn out how we think we want it or how we'd like from our limited consciousness, but be open to it coming in miraculous ways, or ways that we would
yeah,
never have thought of or conjured up, because the universe is so infinite. It has many myriad of wonderful ways, creative ways to unfold what is for our highest good and the highest good of all. So it feels like it's really just being in alignment with that intention, and also being in a flow. So we're not in resistance,
absolutely.
we're in a flow.
And also, we've got to be mindful, really, really, these days more than ever before, of how we speak to ourselves.
Mm.
It's so, so important to keep positive, to be aware of how we speak to ourselves, of others as well, but definitely how we speak to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think the use of mantras, I am will always be the most powerful statement that we can say about ourselves. So I am open. I'm open to the expansion of my heart. I am open to receiving. I am opening. I'm allowing magic to happen. I am, I am, I am. I am flippin' wonderful. I am. I am this human being or spiritual being having a human experience, and it's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kere mishi kwa tana mana hi shikina na hana hatake.
Yeah. I like to listen to a beautiful lady called Sarah Langdon, and she channels the wisdom of the council. And one of the things she's been sharing lately is, I am the miracle, I am the magic, I am the master. And it's just so,
Love
yeah.
it. Yeah. I'll have what she's having.
Yeah. But I'll tell you another little thing as well, or just share, just for anybody listening more so, is that there was a time in my own awakening journey where I was becoming more aware of my thoughts. But then I had to become aware of the thoughts in between the thoughts that I wasn't aware of, that had quite a bit of energy behind them. And so one of the ways I was slowed down is, literally, I woke up one day and I couldn't move my neck without excruciating pain. It was like something like a slip disc or something like that. And I just knew it was happening for me. I just was open to that awareness, that possibility, and the magic, that was even magical. And really embraced the journey and surrender to it. But it taught me so much. For about 2 weeks, anytime my thoughts was of judgment or the past or into the future or whatever, projecting stuff, the pain shot right up. And so then I would just have to let go, come out of the mind, back into the heart, back into the body, and then just be present, and then ask, okay, what now? And often it was just, I listened to like maybe an Abraham Hicks meditation, or I went in the spa bath, or just slowed right down into the present moment. And once I received all the gifts of awareness, then, as if by magic, it released and didn't need to be there any longer. So we're pretty magical beings.
We are. We are. So I'm just being given a wee nudge again, just to finish off with. And this is another poem that I was gifted. And it's called Passion. When passion it is born, my dear, it cannot be ignored. It surfaces like a joyful child whose wings are made to soar. For ne'er are there the boundaries when passion does take flight. Your imagination, it is reborn from the shade of night. There is no holding back now as your being it does fly unto the great unknown, never asking why. Your dreams they are all now fulfilled as life you do embrace with such love and gratitude, happiness and grace. Live your passion from your heart and your world becomes a dream, showing all that's possible, no longer as unseen. Your heart and soul are nourished like you've never felt before, each day a new adventure for your passion to explore. There we are.
So beautiful, so beautiful. So can you start to tell people how they can make connections with you? You spoke about the paintings again. If there's anything else you want to give on that, and just how people can connect with you, please.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't have a website at present. I use Facebook as my platform with my name, Gail Frances. And you can find me on Messenger with the same name, or you can email me, Gail Frances 2021 at gmail.com.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wonderful. And you are in Christchurch in New Zealand, and you said that
I
you can create these pictures and you can send them anywhere in the world.
Yes, I just sent one to South Africa the other day.
Beautiful, beautiful. And
Mm.
how much of a time frame approximately on them or people can expect?
Okay, well, it's weather dependent. They have to dry naturally. So at the moment, they're drying quite quickly, but they've got to be totally dry before I put the gold leaf on the surface of their symbol. And I only ever post on a Monday, so they're not sitting in the post office overnight. Yes, just get in touch with me and I can send all the details and let people know how they're created if they need to know.
The paints that you
It's my
use,
passion.
are they acrylic or oil, or what are you actually
Oh,
using?
they're acrylic. They're
Acrylic.
acrylic, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Gail. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energies and vibrations and the team and all the sharings of the poetry and the light language and the light coded paintings. So beautiful, so joyful, so fun. It's been a real delight to be with you and to co-create this podcast. So thank you for saying yes to my invitation to come on and just share. I love getting to know people this way through the podcast and through what we co-create together and the synergy of that. So yeah, and grateful to everyone who gets to listen to this. And contact Gail about your soul painting. Just so exciting. And I want to do that too. So yeah,
Oh, thank you, Mary
get
Jo.
me in contact.
Oh, well, when I'm able, I will start doing classes again when I can organize that. They're only very intimate and I can take people through their own. But I haven't sort of not getting the nudge to do it down here just yet. Too many changes on the horizon.
You mean actually a class where you're teaching people how to create their own soul painting? Is that what you mean?
Yes, well, they're not quite the same as the ones I bring through, but it's a lovely lesson for people. So
Nice.
it's a lovely lesson. Yes, I haven't done that for a wee while.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Beautiful, beautiful. Excellent. Thank you so much. And
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Mary Jo.
you're welcome. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we close out?
Look, just a big thank you. Bless you, everyone who's listening. Just thank you for your time. I trust that you've received some of the energies. I just wish you lots of love and light and that your life flows with ease and grace and joy. So, Kanamishi kwa namara atikina manasa. Thank you. And that's thank you from my team. Thank you.
Beautiful. Namaste. Thank you. And so it is.
Thank you. Bye-bye.